Hello, friends. So I just thought I would record myself talking for a little bit. Got my drink. Can you hear it? Dingity cling. No, no. Can you hear it? I think it's because I got my voice on isolation. That's what it is. Um. So, how are you all doing? Are we okay? It's strange talking to myself and potentially you if you're listening. So what shall I talk about? Tell you what. I'll tell you a little bit about my work. It's probably a good place to start, seeing as I'm an artist and painting and drawing is what I do. So, how would I describe my work? So, I define myself as a contemporary traditional artist and I create representative nature art. So, ever since I was little, I've always been someone who's incredibly grounded when I am out in nature. Uh, I've always loved nature and I've always been the one for going outdoors. And my cousin used to take me to Kielder Forest, Northumberland Park, everything up north because I'm from the northeast, Newcastle. If my accent isn't enough to give it away. Although I have got quite a diluted accent because I have lived in Leicester for 5 years now, I think it is, coming up 6 years. Wow, time flies. So yeah, I am a nature girl, and ever since I was young, I would typically point out things to my parents and my friends and my family, that I very quickly realised no one else was looking at. So things like interesting leaves, colourful insects, or how pretty the trees were in the sunset, and and as always, I would always find myself quite disappointed when I wasn't quite getting the reaction that I was hoping for. I found out that they weren't quite as interested um in nature as what I was. I kind of go, oh yeah, yeah, that's nice, and that would be it. And obviously, as someone like me who would find it like, oh my god, look at this. Yeah, it was a little bit disappointing. Uh, and all of that stuff is still very translated in me now. I absolutely love dynamic light. And I love it when you get like leaves and petals which are just starting to break down, like decay. And I love it when they kind of like curl and ripple like into itself. I describe it as like quite delicious. Like it's really nice. And I can't help but paint it. It's just something that I am forever drawn to do. Drawn could be a pun in there somewhere. Um, and what else am I interested? I'm interested in vibrant colours. I love the way that every plant presents itself differently. Some bodies, like some natural bodies, are so unique in form. Honestly, they could be from a completely different planet, and that just is so fascinating for me. Um, although I do paint plants, I couldn't tell you paint. Although I do paint plants, I couldn't tell you the species. I'd have to Google the species, which is probably really bad of me. I should do a lot of research on that, but I'm an artist, not a researcher or a scientist. Although I have been doing a bit of research on botany and learning the structure of plants, which I think is a bit more relevant to me and my practice. So yeah. Have I always painted plants? No. I've gone through, gosh, a series and series of different subject matter. So God, the biggest chunk of my practice, especially as a student, was doing portraiture, which I eventually fell out of love with. I found myself getting in just shit tons of artist blocks, um, falling in love with art, falling out of love with art, and something I would always describe myself as is a human printer. And although doing commissions, which I did fairly regularly, especially for a early artist, I did do quite a few commissions, and the only part I loved was when you had a good client and their reaction was like, "Oh my God, I love it." And that's the only part I loved. I described myself as a human printer. I mean, I was just sick to death of just recreating photos, and even if the tiniest thing went right, you kind of got the feedback, which is great because you want the client to be happy, but it just bring you down because I wanted to create something that was me, and that didn't feel like that was me. Um, and some artists love doing that, but for me, it just got so boggy, and I just didn't want to paint or create in any way, and that's not what should happen if you're an artist. I always aspired for was, an artistic identity. You want that quality as an artist where someone looks at your work and goes, "Oh yeah, that's Chloe Brown's or Chloe Jean Brown's." And with portraiture, I felt like I really didn't have that. And I think me not really enjoying my work really did translate into my work, and you could kind of see it. Um, and it was a really hard thing to come out of, actually, coming out of portraiture because it's what people, I mean, a small amount of people that I had recognized me for, being good at. And it was really tough. So I kind of slowly edged myself away from painting portraits. I did some really odd but cool paintings of my little boy because I'm a mum. In my world at that point was very much my little boy. And still is, but he's getting a bit older now, so he's not like my 100% focus. Yeah, that sounds terrible, but it is what it is. Mums will understand me. Um, but yeah, my work was very narrative based, and um, it was all about how he was looking at the world and in his fascination with the little things, and obviously as my work is now, and it reminded me when I was little and how magical the world was. And I created a bit of a series of paintings on that and started to involve nature into my work rather than it just being the head. So that was nice. And then I just wanted to get rid of people, even my son, completely. Uh, and so I kind of replaced him as the focal point with insects. I went through a bit of a phase of being fascinated with insects, but I still found that there was just this one focal point that I could paint really well, and that was still very representative of portraiture. Still felt like I had a latch on to that very realistic traits that I had in my work. And I mean, yes, my work is still very much realistic, but the way I kind of capture the plants is almost very abstract, and um it fills the canvas, and it's really almost orchestral, and it's quite intimate to me and very beautiful all at once. And that is something about my work now that I am very proud of and would very much like to continue doing. So after insects, then, well, whilst I was painting my insects and my drawings, I always would involve some sort of like collagey abstract background. And the one bit of those paintings that I really, really enjoyed painting was the flowers. And I thought, well, why aren't I painting flowers? You know, that's probably like a good thing to look at. And if you are an artist and magically you're listening to me and have got this far, listening to me talk shite, interesting shite, I hope. But that's one thing to do that is good, is take a step back from your work, look at it, tell yourself the stuff that you don't like, which is good. That's a good thing that you don't like some stuff. I mean, there's some stuff in my work now that I don't like. If you like everything, then you can't improve. That's just the simple fact of it. So yeah, tell yourself something you don't like, and then look at the thing you do like, and then run towards that. And then the next painting or drawing or print or whatever you do more of what you do like, and then do it again. Analyze, pick out what's not quite working, and then run forward. That is what an artistic practice is. That is how you grow as an artist and grow within your identity. Your identity doesn't come like that. You know, it doesn't come straight away. That is very silly and very small, in a very small way of thinking. If you think you just got it, you know, you haven't. It takes a long time. I mean, in 10 years, my work might look, or probably will look, very different to the work I have now, but that's okay. That I want to progress and I want to discover myself more as I grow. So that is my lecture. That is my lecture. I will close it up because I've been chatting for a little while and this was just me experimenting with almost a podcast. I think I've kind of run into a podcast. So I'll end on the broader scope of my work is about the art of seeing. And in a way, I suppose it always has been. I've took many steps forward to take even more steps back. And I've just gone right back to the thing that I've always loved. And that's the little bits in nature that I feel like not everybody looks at. So just like little me, I want to show you the way in which I see. And if you've got this far, thank you very much for listening. I can talk better to myself than I thought I could. I think I talk better to myself than I talk to other people. Usually I sound an absolute rotten mess. But yes, hello. My name is Chloe Jean Brown, and I am a contemporary traditional artist. See you next time.